Ilhan Omar is back in the news again. Apparently, Project Veritas has uncovered a ballot harvesting fraud in Minnesota, which is directly linked to Ilhan Omar. Trump is now calling for investigation into Representative Omar over these ballot harvesting claims. Now, this is outside of the whole marriage thing. We're going to get to that as well. But for those of you who don't know what ballot harvesting is, basically anyone in any state can take up to 3 absentee ballots and submit those ballots, right, for people who are connected to them. Usually it's like family members or friends or something like this. But the limit is 3. And what this video basically uncovers is that people who are directly linked to Minnesota, the Minnesota government, the Minnesota state government, and these local governments, these people are harvesting hundreds of ballots each, and they admit to doing it on video pretty openly. And this is directly linked to Ilhan Omar and her district. And so we're going to talk about this today. We're also going to talk, of course, about Ilhan Omar and her marriage and Trump calling for an investigation into Representative Omar over these ballot harvesting claims. We're going to show you the video clip. Before we get started, I just want to remind you to check out the links in the description below and go to either preparewithvincent.com or waterwithvincent.com. I get a big portion of every single order from either of these websites. And at preparewithvincent.com, you can get $100 off of a 4-week emergency dry food supply. This dry food supply has a 25-year shelf life. It's actually cheaper than 4 weeks of food at your local grocery store. It has 2,000 calories a day, 284 servings, 12 different food varieties. The 2-week emergency dry food supply is up on the site and ready to order as well. At waterwithvincent.com, you can get about $100 off of an Alexa Pure Pro water filtration system. Filters up to 5,000 gallons of water, 200-plus contaminants, including fluoride, viruses, bacteria, pesticides, pharmaceuticals, things like this. You can look on YouTube, look up Alexa Pure Pro test, and you'll see scientific tests on it. It's probably the best portable water filter out there, or definitely, if not the best, definitely one of the best. And like I said, I get a substantial portion of every order from either of these sites. So if you're thinking about stocking up a dry food supply, water filtration, things like this, it helps me out a lot. Go to preparewithvincent.com or waterwithvincent.com to give me credit. So let's get to this first story here. This is from the New York Post. And this New York Post outlines this ballot harvesting fraud. It says Project Veritas. And one thing about Project Veritas, sometimes you look at some of the stuff that they come out with and you're like, well, this is a stretch, right? This is a stretch. But then other times, like 70% of the time, you look at it's like big breaking news. And a lot of the times the fact-checking media never fact-checks them because they're right. And they even cover it themselves, which is a pretty good thing, right, for Project Veritas. But, of course, YouTube constantly deletes their videos and social media suppresses them. But Project Veritas uncovers ballot harvesting fraud in Minnesota. And it says a ballot harvesting racket in Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar's Minneapolis district where paid workers illegally gather absentee ballots from elderly Somali immigrants appears to have been busted by undercover news organization Project Veritas. One alleged ballot harvester, Libin Mohammed, the brother of Minneapolis City Council member Jamal Osman, is shown in a bombshell Snapchat video rifling through piles of ballots strewn across his dashboard. Just today, we got 300 for Jamal Osman, says Mohammed, a.k.a. King Libin 1 in the video. I have 300 ballots in my car right now. Numbers don't lie. You can see my car is full. All of these here are absentee ballots. And remember, only 3 per individual. Look at these. Look at all of these are for Jamal Osman, he says, displaying the white envelopes. Money is the king of the world, and a campaign is driven by money. The video posted on July 1st was obtained by Project Veritas and included a 17-minute video expose released Sunday night. Under Minnesota law, no individual can be the designated agent for more than 3 absentee voters. So it's highly illegal. But let's play a little bit from this clip here. This is from James O'Keefe. We'll play a little bit from this clip right now.
James O'Keefe here in downtown Minneapolis at the scene of the crime. The person you're about to meet, Liban Mohammed, aka King Liban 1, boasts about the hundreds of absentee ballots in his car.
Numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. Wajida gaarigaygu waa buuxaa. Waxaas waa absent ballot salka yaala. Soo ma jeedin. Fiiri. Waxaas oo dhan soo ma jeedin. Waa buuxaa gaarigaygu. Waa buuxa yaala. Waxaas kullu waa Jamal Usman way. Fiiri. Fiiri. 300 clear maanta soo dhacday oo Jamal Usman. Yeah.
There was video. You can see the video. There was a video out and about that he has the ballots in his car.
Right.
And talking about the only way you can win is with money.
that's a little bit from that clip. We don't have to play the whole clip, of course. The clip is sort of long, but I mean, you get the idea, right? I mean, a lot of these people probably weren't ever going to vote in the election. Like, they know that Minnesota is going to be close, and so this is the reason why they're doing this ballot harvesting. We're talking about hundreds, thousands of. So think about Minnesota. So if you think that this is small, or this is voter fraud, right? But this is a tiny percentage of votes. Just think about Minnesota. It was only a couple of thousand votes that Trump lost Minnesota. They know that Minnesota is going to be close. And it's just like we found those 9 ballots that were all thrown out. They were for President Trump, and I think it was in Pennsylvania. So once again, people, well, it's just 9 ballots. Well, think about this at a larger scale. You think that's only happening there? Of course not. Here it is happening in Minnesota, in Ilhan Omar's district, a different type of voter fraud. This is directly linked to Ilhan Omar. This should be a major investigation. There should have already been a major investigation into Ilhan Omar because of her whole marriage thing that even a Pulitzer Prize-winning outlet admitted was probably the case, where she married her own brother to skirt immigration laws here in the country. I just want to pull this up here. This is one of the best tweets. They found this old Ilhan Omar tweet from September 6th. Friendly reminder that the vote-by-mail fraud rate is only 0.00006%. By the way, the number's wrong, first of all. Number one. Number two, if we're talking about 1/3 of all votes, and it being more ubiquitous as far as like mail-in voting is concerned, even though Dr. Fauci, their favorite doctor, says there's no reason why we shouldn't be voting in person this November. He said there's absolutely no reason to not vote in person. Like, there shouldn't be mail-in voting right now this ubiquitous. But if it is going to be more ubiquitous, which it already is, than ever before, then of course that fraud rate is going to go up. But it's not 0.00006%. It's much higher than that. But he says, you're sure about that? Because of this connection that she has. Well, Trump has called for an investigation into Representative Omar over ballot harvesting claims. President Trump has called for an investigation into Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar for alleged ballot harvesting in Minnesota. This is totally illegal. He says, I hope that the U.S. attorney in Minnesota has this and other of her many misdeeds under serious review. And he's talking about the marriage thing. If not, why not? The president tweeted early Monday, we will win Minnesota because of her, and law enforcement saved Minneapolis and Iron Orange, he continued. The president was referring to a report from Project Veritas that implicates Progressive Squad member Omar in an alleged cash for ballot scheme to gather absentee ballots, including or illegally from Somali immigrants. In a video posted by Project Veritas late Sunday, Libin Mohammed, the brother of Minneapolis City Council member Jamal Osman, is shown with ballots filling his car's dashboard. And there's probably a whole bunch of other people who were involved in this entire thing. But I want to go back to this Star Tribune article, and this is a Pulitzer Prize-winning outlet. They say the new investigative documents released by state agency have given fresh life to lingering questions about marital history of Representative Ilhan Omar and whether or not she married a man, possibly her own brother, to skirt immigration laws. The new documents are also detailed the Omar's campaign's efforts to keep the story of her marriage to Elmi out of the press, arguing that detailed coverage would legitimize the accusations and invade her privacy. And, you know, this chick is constantly, Trump called her out basically recently, said that, and he's the only Republican that has the courage to say something like this, but basically said, like, hey, you know, you're trying to tell us how to run our country. How's it going in your country of Somalia? How's it going over there? How's it going in Haiti or in some of these other countries? You have these people coming over here trying to advocate for us to run our country like their country. It's just like the liberals moving to conservative states and conservative cities, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, and then bringing their ideas with them, thinking that it's going to make those states better after they've destroyed their state. Minneapolis is completely 80% of police activity. 80% of police activity. Police activity has dropped by 80%. Crime has surged. By the way, speaking of Minneapolis, I just want to go to this here. Minneapolis city councilors backtrack and promise to dismantle police department and say that the pledge was up for interpretation. So remember, we saw this Bloomberg article that said the precipitous drop of police traffic stops in Minneapolis, and that we see the crime surging because of this, because police activity is going down because of this anti-cop rhetoric. This is what's happening in Minneapolis. Now they're saying, well, we didn't really mean defund the police. We didn't really mean abolish the police. This was up for interpretation. We meant this in our heart. What was one of the quotes? I think one of the quotes was like, well, we meant this in our spirit. Yeah, here it is. Counselor Andrew Johnson, one of the 9 members who supported the pledge in June, said that he meant the words in spirit. You meant the words in the spirit, as there's a major drop in police activity and a major crime surge because of this anti-police rhetoric and because police are transferring at the highest rates ever and police are retiring at the highest rates ever. That's Minnesota for you. We'll see what happens in Minnesota, but that's what I have for you on Ilhan Omar. Beloved brothers and sisters, let us rejoice in our God, for he takes great delight in bestowing benefits on his people. Let us fervently pray, increase your grace and your peace, Lord, eternal God, for whom 1,000 years are like each passing day. By the way, I just have to mention this. I will be out Friday and Monday. Friday and Monday I will be out, but back Tuesday, 2 p.m. Pacific time on dlive.tv/VinceandJames for the live show, which airs Monday through Friday. My goal is to eventually become a powerhouse of truth. That is why it is imperative that you check the links in the description below and go to either Patreon and Subscribestar and support us for at least the cost of a cup of coffee a month. We already have writers writing for theredelephants.com, but we'd like to bring on more in the near future. By the way, at theredelephants.com, you can also find t-shirts, hats, and other products. Check the links in the description below. It helps us out tremendously.